Who's got you down? The Warner Hospital and Health Services Walk-In Clinic can help you feel better fast. CEO Paul Skowron inviting you to make us your backup plan to better health. Find out more by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police splatter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Hart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. Increases in substance abuse and mental health battles are spiking across the country, but the Clinton Police Department has engaged in a statewide initiative to help individuals find help locally. On the WHOW Morning Show Wednesday, Clinton Police Chief Ben Lowers told the Hart Media Group they encounter individuals struggling with either substance abuse or mental health issues, and the previous limitations to help them were a big challenge.
I talk often about early in my career, you back up 30 years, I would say that a vast majority of the things that we dealt with had a substance abuse faction behind them, whether that was alcohol or substance abuse, whether it was domestic violence or burglary and theft and things of that nature, property crimes. It seemed like the vast majority had some type of a substance abuse faction behind them. And now we deal with so much still substance use disorder, but also mental health. And so, we're adapting to that over the last several years with more training, trying to be more prepared for those types of things, but it's still a very understaffed system and an undersupported system to deal with some of the mental health that we do. And so our officers and our EMTs and everybody, all of the stakeholders involved, we're seeing an uptick in mental health responses there. When it comes to substance use disorder, a lot of times substance use disorder and mental health crisis oftentimes are coexisting, but also they also oftentimes have a criminal element involved, whether that's a lot of times it's crimes against property, but it could be domestic violence or trespass type issues, disturbance type situations. And so, recognizing that whether there's a law to be enforced when we, oftentimes we're the peacekeeper, we're the first responder in so many of those situations that we get there, we assess what's happened, what's going on, and we take it from there. And there's multiple avenues, whether that be an arrest, whether that be a referral to a deflection program or something like that. Oftentimes police officers, they are the first point of contact along with EMS and sometimes fire. But oftentimes the law enforcement is the first step in that, the first point of contact in many of all of those situations. And so, we're in a better place today than we were even a year ago.
Enter the DART program, or Deflection Avenue Reconnection Team, which Chief Lowers explains connects people who may be going through a crisis and provides a person with a lived experience to respond to that person and be there for them.
We're a very proactive agency with our partner with the DART, which is the Deflection Avenues Reconnection Team. DART is our local multi-county organization of TASK, which is Treatment Alternatives for Safe Communities. And what happens there is when one of our officers responds to a scene and he recognizes that there's maybe a substance abuse faction there, maybe there's not a crime, maybe there is or isn't a crime to be enforced and arrest to be made. But even if they recognize that, maybe the root of this issue is a mental health or substance use disorder problem, we can make a referral to DART. And what they do is DART sends out within the next 24 to 48 hours, DART's going to send out a deflection specialist. And this is oftentimes a person who is trained in that crisis response, but also a person with lived experience. And, for me to sit down with an addict and talk about and try to motivate and inspire to guide that person to a safer path, I'm all about that, and I'm very passionate about that. But when you can provide a person who has walked in their shoes with that same message, it's so much more impactful to them to be able to talk to somebody who has lived their life, who has walked in their shoes. And I think that degree of rapport coming from someone like that has been very, very successful for us. They're not always successful. I know Chief Meister was on here just recently talking about Lincoln and Logan County's new program, which is equivalent to our DART. It's their task program. The Clinton Police Department has been extremely proactive with that and very supportive, and it has been very successful for us on many, many occasions.
According to Chief Lowers, the DART program complements programs like the Safe Passage and ROSC programs in Clinton. Those can help individuals struggling to overcome the barriers that may prevent them from seeking help.
That ties in with the Safe Passage program that we've offered in the past, providing a fast track to get individuals into treatment who are ready and willing. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, Seth, it's nearly impossible to help someone who's not ready and willing to help themselves.
Right.
That is very difficult. It's very discouraging. I'm oftentimes talking to the family members and the close loved ones of that person struggling. What can we do? Well, it's nearly impossible to help someone that's not ready to help themselves. But when they are, we need to be that bridge to be able to help guide them to those resources to be able to do so. And I think we're doing a good job of that. I think we've come a long ways with recognition and trying to eliminate or at least decrease stigma through things like ROSC. We've got our local ROSC program, the Recovery Oriented Systems of Care, providing more resources and support services for those living in recovery in our small community. One of the things that we struggle with in a small community is our available resources that we have here locally. And then for those individuals who are seeking a lifestyle in recovery, oftentimes transportation is an issue for them. While those services might be offered in Bloomington or Decatur, oftentimes transportation is an issue. So through things like ROSC and DART, I guess we just have more acceptance and acknowledgement of we've got an issue. We don't just have an issue here in Clinton, DeWitt County. It's everywhere, but we're addressing it. And we're bringing people together to provide those resources to try to help guide in a more positive path. And I'm extremely passionate about that and thankful that we do have.
Chief Lowers touts the DART program success even in just the last month and positive outcomes for individuals. He points to this time of the year with seasonal depression disorder being a catalyst for those who struggle. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, University of Illinois Extension Commercial Ag Educator highlights importance of pesticide training. Clinton High School is finally initiating a change that has been discussed internally for years. On the WHOW High School Road Tour Wednesday, Clinton High School Principal Jerry Wayne told the Hart Media Group that while they currently assess students based on a quarter grade system, they will be transitioning to a semester grade system next year.
We as a building, we've had some of these discussions in prior years, but we really started pushing a little bit more of questioning why do we have at the high school level quarter grades? Because in reality, when it comes to a kid's transcript, which goes on to college or whether it's the workforce or whatever, all they get are semester grades. That's the only thing that really happens. And so we started having some conversation about why are we staying with these quarter grade ideas? And as I talked with my building leadership team over the course of this year, we've made the decision that next year we are going to transition away from quarter grades, and we're just going to end up having semester grades. So
Wayne indicates that the change will not make a big impact on students or families, but it will help them better align with the standards of other area schools and prepare students for the typical grading system of higher education.
So it's essentially going to end up not really having a great deal of an impact on kids or parents. It's just going to be one long grading period. We're going to have a midterm, which would be about when a normal 9 weeks period would be, so you can still check on it. But it more closely aligns with what we already are doing from an athletic standpoint. It more closely aligns with what a good number of other area schools were already doing as well. And it just seems to make sense to allow kids to continue to work through for a semester where they don't feel like there's this arbitrary cutoff and now we're going to start all over again. The semester is the semester. And so that's one of the things that we feel good about. And I think is going to be a positive in the end on that. But I want to make sure I get that out so that parents start to hear that they're not going to be looking and seeing, okay, where's that end of first quarter? We're not going to have that at the high school level. It will have zero impact on any of the other buildings. But I think it's a good thing that we're going to end up looking at. And I think it will, like I said, it's going to be nice to be that connection with what the athletics are going to end up being.
Preparing students for life after high school has been a focus for Wayne throughout his career in Clinton. He says that while minor, this is a good addition to all the ways the high school supports its students.
From the moment I got into this role, one of my biggest priorities, and I talk about this with individuals who come back as graduates that want to, they graduated back in the 80s and they want to come back and see the building and see the facilities and the upgrades and all those great things that are happening here. One of the things that's always been a priority for me is I want to make sure that Clinton High School is always has a structure in place that can allow kids to be who they want to be when they grow up, when they become those young adults. Because not everybody's the same. Not everybody is necessarily intended to go, especially off to college right now. I think success in college is determined by when someone identifies this is what I want to do, and then that focus becomes different regardless of what their high school success has been. So what I'm most proud of what we do here at Clinton High School is we provide kids to be whatever it is that they want to be, whether that's going to be taking the college prep track and taking all those college level classes that can then prepare them for the best chance of success at the college level, or whether we're talking about somebody who says, no, I want to go into the trades, which is a great thing for kids to have that opportunity to do.
While Wayne is always looking for ways to support his students in the building, they are also supporting incoming students by hosting freshman orientation on February 3rd. We'll have more on that with Wayne in the weeks ahead from the Hart Media Group. Learn more about all things Clinton schools by visiting cusd15.org or by finding them on Facebook. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
Happy New Year from all of us here at Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. This is Scott Baum. Most of our customers trade for a different SUV or truck because their needs change each year. That's good because we have transportation options for you. Plus, we need your trade. Our selection of top quality, pre-owned trades come from you. Come see our ever-changing Chevrolet and Buick inventory today. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
News time is 22 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. A University of Illinois Extension Ag Educator is highlighting some upcoming pesticide applicator trainings for producers this winter. Reagan Tibbs is an Extension Commercial Ag Educator in Logan, Menard, and Sangamon counties, and indicates these trainings are going to be available at various points across the state through March, and for some are a must to keep those licenses up to date.
These pesticide safety clinics run by our pesticide safety team are really valuable tools, and get to hear from our team on campus and from other educators like myself. Like I said, they started back in December, they go through March and April. Here in the local area, we still have a few that are upcoming. Next week, there's one down in Springfield at the Crown Plaza Hotel. But then in Springfield, there's one more for private applicators on February 10th in Springfield. And then the last kind of major one in this area that has both commercial and private is in Peoria. So the 23rd and the 24th, that is our commercial clinic. So if you're a commercial applicator or a commercial operator, that's a clinic you'll need to go to. And then on the 25th is our private applicator clinic. So again, those are really important sessions, especially if you are up to do your testing. You can come to the educational sessions, or if you just need to take the test, you just want to take the test, capable of doing that as well, or even reaching out to the Department of Ag separately just to go and take an in-person test at the Department of Ag.
Tibbs indicates it is important for producers to keep up with these trainings because laws around pesticide applications can change or regulations from the federal level can change.
And sometimes there's changes to the law or changes to regulations, whether it comes down from the federal level or even here at the state level. At the federal level recently, FIFRA, the federal, I don't remember what the acronym is. Of course, it's federal government. They have a ton of acronyms, but basically it's kind of the federal law that governs how we use insecticides and other products of that nature. That changed recently, some regulations around that in terms of how are these products certified and then having barriers and buffers when we apply them. So those rules are still changing. I think we here in Illinois are still trying to figure out how to go through that. Last I heard from the Department of Agriculture. So yes, there are changes that might happen every year or so, but the manuals usually don't change that much. I think we put out annual revisions just make sure we stay current on that. But if you have a manual from the last couple of years, you usually should be pretty okay with a lot of the updated information. And the nice thing about these sessions is we go through the manuals line by line. And we provide you the updated information through each of the section of the manual.
For more information on upcoming pesticide trainings or other off-season continuing education requirements, visit extension.illinois.edu. Back to winter conditions for Illinois. Beginning this week, the state is embarking on a 12-day stretch of cold air, measurable snow, and maybe even some ice. Freeze notice weather meteorologist Paul Otto told RFD Radio that he is looking at two separate systems on January 23rd and January 26th.
We're first going to see the measurable snowfall about 3 to 5 inches next Friday night come through central and southern Illinois because that freezing line will advance that far to the south, all due to this cold air that starts coming in today.
And then, so that's the system that's on the 23rd, I believe, when you talk about the potential for 3 to 5 inches. What about that system then on the 26th? What type of measurable snow?
That one, it's as you come out of these deep freezes, you always get these unique combinations of precipitation, and that one's going to be a rain, snow, ice mix. First setting up, looks like right now along I-64 during the morning hours, and then by the evening, as the warmer air pushes in, that icing, freezing line will advance all the way north to northern parts of the state. So therefore, I'm looking for central and northern parts of the state to not be doing too well on the 26th, as we'll start off with some snow, and it'll change over to sleet and then freezing rain. And that's, again, for northern and central parts of the state on the 26th as we begin to emerge out of the deep freeze.
Otto says following the 12-day stretch of winter conditions, normal to above normal temperatures will return for the end of the month. Leaders from the Better Business Bureau want you to step into 2026 on the right foot by having tools to avoid scams. According to Don O'Brien, a scam investigator at the BBB, fraudsters are continuing to increase the sophistication of their scams. However, there are ways to avoid a multitude of scams, from fake pop-up shops to phony retailers.
So there's a couple things that I want all your listeners to do. We've got a whole list of about 10 or 12 of these, but I'm going to hit the high points here. And one of these things, Blake, I want you to do is I want you to do your research, and all your listeners, do your research before shopping, especially online. Research it. If you find a business you want to do business with, you've never done that with before, get your Google machine out or whatever you like to use to search for things, put in BBB space and then the business name, and find out if we have a profile on them. Then you can read information about what consumers are experiencing with them. If you don't do your homework, if you don't do your research when you're dealing with a new business online, your chances of being taken advantage of go up way more than if you do your homework. Yeah, make sure that business has a physical address. Check for a lock icon or HTTPS on this website. And check the return exchange policies before you pay for anything when you do that online shopping. You do those things, you're probably going to have a good experience.
The BBB Scam Tracker report found that online scams accounted for more than 60% of all scams reported to the BBB in 2025. According to O'Brien, those scams targeted people between 18 and 35. Now for your local obituaries. Mark E. McGlasson, 76, of Clinton, passed away at 12:05 p.m. January 5th at his home in Clinton. Private burial will be at a later date. The family entrusted Calvert Funeral Home in Clinton with cremation rights. Memorials in Mark's name may be directed to your local animal shelter. Online condolences may be made at calvertmemorial.com. Sandra Barbara Cyril Mitchell, 81, of Clinton, passed away at 5 a.m. January 6th at Goldwater Care in Clinton. No services are planned at this time. The family entrusted Calvert Funeral Home in Clinton with cremation rights. Memorials in Sandra's name may be directed to your local animal shelter. Online condolences may be made at calvertmemorial.com. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. That's DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more. Anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Other presidents have done it down through the years, and now President Trump is threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act. In this case, it would allow the president to deploy troops to put an end to the raucous protests in Minneapolis. A federal agent and a Venezuelan national were sent to the hospital after Homeland Security says the Venezuelan man attacked the agent with a shovel, and the agent fired in self-defense in Minneapolis. Venezuela's opposition leader, Nobel Peace Prize recipient Maria Corina Machado pays a visit to President Trump today at the White House. Her visit comes after Senate Republicans blocked a war powers resolution.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. The Argenta-Oreana Bombers fought off a fourth-quarter comeback effort from the Tri-County Titans to get the 74-72 win in Lincoln Prairie Conference boys basketball action on Wednesday night in Argenta. The Bombers had the 39-32 lead at halftime and led 60-51 going into the fourth quarter. The Titans would fight back in an attempt to steal the win, but came just 2 points short in the end. Argenta-Oreana was led by Carter Logue, who scored 24 points. Jackson Finch added 21 points, while Cameron Stokes had 15. Isaiah Parks contributed 12 points. Chase Road led all scorers with 28 points for Tri-County. Preston Bancroft had 18 points, while Anthony Smith added 13. Kali Lee had 11 points. With the win, Argenta-Oreana improves to 7-10 and 3-1 in Lincoln Prairie Conference play. Tri-County falls to 8-11 and 1-2 in the Lincoln Prairie. The Bombers go on the road to play Heritage on Friday. Tip-off is at 7:15 p.m. Keaton Wagler scored 20 of his 22 points in the second half, and the number 13 Illinois Fighting Illini beat the Northwestern Wildcats 79-68 on Wednesday night for their season-high 6th consecutive victory. Tomislav Isvich added 21 points and 7 rebounds as Illinois won at Northwestern for the first time since January 29, 2022. They improved to 14-3 and 5-1 in the Big Ten. The Illini had dropped their last 3 games in Evanston. Jaden Reed led Northwestern with a career-high 28 points, including 20 in the second half. Nick Martinelli had 20 points. The Wildcats fall to 8-9 and 0-6 in the Big Ten. They shot 39% or 22 for 56 from the field in their fourth consecutive loss. Northwestern trimmed an 11-point deficit to 53-47 on Reed's jumper with 13 minutes and 28 seconds left, but Illinois responded with a 9-0 run. Jake Davis made a three-pointer, and Wagler drove inside for a three-point play. Wagler then connected from deep, making it 62-47 with 9 minutes and 43 seconds remaining. After Reed and Martinelli rallied the Wildcats once again, Wagler set up Vucevic for a three-pointer that made it 72-63 with 2 minutes and 53 seconds to go. Wagler, one of the top freshmen in the country, finished with 5 rebounds and 3 assists. He shot 7 for 12 from the field in the second half. Kylan Boswell had 13 points and 6 assists for Illinois, which used its superior size to outscore Northwestern 34-18 in the paint. Vucevic and David Mirkovic made consecutive three-pointers during a 10-2 run that helped Illinois to a 38-33 halftime lead. Boswell scored 9 points for the Illini in the first half, and Martinelli had 11 points for the Wildcats at the break. Illinois hosts Minnesota on Saturday. Northwestern hosts number 8 Nebraska on Saturday. Xavier Hall scored 16 points as Indiana State beat Illinois State 94-89 on Wednesday night. Hall shot 5 for 8 and 2 for 5 from three-point range and 4 for 5 from the free throw line for the Sycamores, who improved to 9-9 and 2-5 in the Missouri Valley Conference. Enel St. Bernard and Sterling Young scored 14 points apiece. Chase Walker led the way for the Redbirds with 21 points and 2 blocks. They fall to 12-6 and 4-3 in the MVC. Tyreek Coleman added 18 points and 2 steals for Illinois State. Bowden Skunberg had 12 points. Ian Scott scored 10 points in the first half for Indiana State, which led 51-42 at the break. Indiana State turned a 6-point second half lead into a 14-point advantage with an 8-0 run to make it a 72-58 lead with 11 minutes and 49 seconds left in the half. Nikola Vucevic made a tie-breaking layup with 4 seconds remaining, and the Chicago Bulls overcame Bryce Sensabaugh's career-high 43 points to beat the Utah Jazz 128-126 on Wednesday night. Vucevic scored 35 points to lead the Bulls, who had 5 reserves finish in double figures. Isaac Okoro was the only other starter in double figures with 12 points for a Bulls team playing without Josh Giddey because of a strained left hamstring. Sensabaugh scored 21 in the first quarter, the most by a player off the bench in a period since play-by-play tracking for all 4 quarters began in 1996 and 97. He helped carry Utah in a game it played without leading scorer Lauri Markkanen because of an illness. The Jazz, who trailed by 12 with 5.5 minutes remaining, rallied to tie it at 126 on Sensabaugh's layup with 28.5 seconds to go. Kobe White then missed a three-pointer for Chicago, but Okoro tracked it down and got it along the sideline to Trey Jones, who fired a pass to an open Vucevic under the basket. Keontae George, who sparked Utah's comeback with 15 points in the final period, missing a three-pointer that would have won it. George scored 25 points, and Kyle Filipowski had 19 for the Jazz, who were coming off a surprising victory at Cleveland on Monday. The game featured 26 ties and 17 lead changes in another close finish between the teams following Utah's 150-147 victory and 2 overtimes in the first meeting this season. The Jazz visit Dallas on Thursday to start a 2-game series, while the Bulls visit Brooklyn on Friday to begin a home-and-home series. Taking a look at scores from around the NCAA last night, number 5 Purdue takes down Iowa 79-72, while Ole Miss upsets number 21 Georgia 97-95. Number 17 Arkansas took down South Carolina 108-74, while Stanford upset number 14 UNC 95-90. Number 15, Texas Tech beat Utah 88-74, while Texas upset number 10 Vanderbilt 80-64. Number 23, Utah State beat Nevada 71-62, while first-ranked Arizona beat Arizona State 89-82. Fourth-ranked Michigan took down Washington in Big Ten play 82-72, while number 6 Duke beat Cal 71-56. Number 11 BYU beat Texas Christian University 76-70. Moving over to the NBA, the Cavaliers beat the 76ers 133-107. The Toronto Raptors beat the Indiana Pacers 115-101. The New Orleans Pelicans with a win over the Brooklyn Nets 116-113, while the Denver Nuggets beat the Dallas Mavericks 118-109. The New York Knicks fell to the Sacramento Kings 112-101, and the LA Clippers beat the Washington Wizards 119-105. In the NHL last night, the New Jersey Devils beat the Seattle Kraken 3-2 in overtime. The Ottawa Senators beat the New York Rangers in a high-scoring game 8-4, while Buffalo beat Philadelphia 5-2, and Las Vegas beat the LA Kings 3-2. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platform, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Lots of sunshine today with daytime highs approaching 28. Westerly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Snow likely tonight, lows dip down to about 24. Cloudy skies expected. About an inch of snow tonight with another dusting tomorrow night. Hear weather twice an hour or online any